Hey, 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 I don't care what these chicks say. I don't even look that way. Look that way, look that way. Every time I walk in the club, they hate on me cause they know I look good. My hair done right and my dress real tight. All eyes on me. I took the night. I took the night. I took the night. I took the night. All eyes on me. I took the night. I don't look that way cause these chicks just wanna hate. I just go to the VIP and put on my hater shades. 1, 2, 4, 3. None of these chicks look better than me. I'm expensive, you so cheap. Catch me in my Louis V's, Neiman Marcus, Gucci V's, Marciano luxury, Louboutins and Tiffany's. None of these chicks look better than me. Every time I walk in the club, they hating on me cause they know I look good. My hair done right and my dress real tight. All eyes on me. I took the night. Every time I walk in the club, they hating on me cause they know I look good. My hair done right and my dress real tight. All eyes on me. I took the night.
Thank you, Wilcox cheer.
Halftime here at Fitzpatrick Field, and a result that we probably weren't expecting a whole lot of, at least considering the matchup on paper. Your Wilcox Chargers leading the Homestead Mustangs by a score of 14-7 in what has been a very interesting first half. Philip Kern alongside my broadcast partner Paul Russell, and we were just kind of taking stock of what happened in that first half, and I think if we could sum up the Wilcox Chargers performance in that first half, I probably touched on it a little bit earlier, but flat may have been a good one-word synopsis.
Yeah, maybe even an understatement, Phil. I mean, the Wilcox, and I was kind of watching them during their pregame warm-ups, and they didn't look quite as sharp and as fired up as I would have expected, and they came out and really got beat on that first drive pretty badly. Fortunately, their defense come back and held up pretty well, but just some sloppy execution.
It was just Christmas, especially. It just seemed like they are just a beat slow, and there was just not much in the way of, but pardon the play on words, but electricity going through the offense. So just a lot of stuff. And I understand that the energy is not quite what it was a couple weeks ago, because you had all the pomp and circumstance with homecoming, with all the floats and all the pageantry of homecoming. So we added a little extra energy to it a couple weeks ago, but it just seemed like ever since that Los Gatos game where they were able to come away with it with a victory despite all the turnovers, it seems like they were just going through the motions.
No, it really did. I mean, and I hate to say it, use another euphemism, but they really have seemed like they've just mailed it in tonight. They really just have not shown up ready to play. So we'll see what Paul Rosert did over the halftime for them. And one of the other things I noticed, we had a couple of guys showing up in street clothes that, after the halftime, it looks like we've got Prince Brown, out of uniform now.
Well, we already knew that Aaron Abbotsay was going to be in street clothes. He's been on the sideline for them tonight. But one encouraging sign, we did see Osiris Nico hurt his ankle, and he is walking without much of an assistance right now. So if anything, if you want to take away from that, that is a good sign. If you are the Wilcox Chargers, as we mentioned, they will get the ball starting in the second half after deferring from the coin toss. But let's touch on Homestead really quick, as they made quite an impression here in that first half. They had that really methodical opening drive. They went down the field 85 yards. They got the first touchdown of the night, which shocked a lot of people. But ever since then, their offense has just not had the same magic, and of course it makes a lot of sense. They've had some spark plays here and there, but like you touched on earlier, this Wilcox defense has really made some strides, and they are playing like we expected them to.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, the defense has shown back up after that one flat series in the opening drive. I tell you, the other thing that Homestead can take, as a positive is going into the locker room and shutting Wilcox out from a score there, because they were certainly knocking on the door, and then a false start play, pushed him back, and then a missed field goal, which is very uncharacteristic.
Well, the field goal attempt was blocked,
Yeah,
as
right.
Flores was not able to get enough lift on that kick, so that puts him at 3 for 6 on the season. So when you look at it for Wilcox's standpoint, just from second half adjustments, what do you think they will probably need to focus on if they want to really start putting some distance between them and Homestead? Because the dangerous part is, if you let a team like Homestead hang around longer than they need to, they may actually feel like they've got a shot at stealing one here.
No, you're absolutely correct. I mean, that's the thing, and in high school football, the team that really wants it will win it. And if you leave these guys to hang around too long, they'll find a way to win. And Homestead actually looks like they really want to try and steal one here tonight.
Well, as I mentioned, Homestead coming into this one 0-6 on the season, as opposed to the Wilcox Chargers, who are 7-0, looking to keep their undefeated season alive. And of course, there has been a temptation to look past this opponent, because you do have Milpitas on the schedule next week. And they have to go to Milpitas to play that one, so they will need to go across Highway 237 to go over to Milpitas. And of course, as we mentioned, Milpitas is sort of the de facto king of the hill until stated otherwise, and Wilcox would have a chance to plant their flag on that mountaintop if they were able to go to that. But maybe there's been a temptation that maybe they look past this matchup just because Homestead is a winless team. They are at the bottom of the heap as far as the DN's division is concerned. But right now, that really hasn't mattered, because Homestead has, for the most part, availed itself quite well with some stellar defense towards the end. And of course, they've had some moments on offense too. So Wilcox may need to really clean things up.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, avoiding the mistakes in the second half. You know, they've had a couple of instances where they put the ball on the ground, a couple of key penalties, but really just flat playing. I mean, you know, in weeks past we've seen Wilcox turn over the ball or give up easy scores due to penalties or turnovers. Tonight it's just been really kind of just flat, slow play. So they're going to have to come out, be fired up, and put some points on the board right out of the chute here.
Well, they will get a chance to do so as we are getting ready for the second half of action here at Fitzpatrick Field. Wilcox did win the toss and they deferred, so they will get the ball starting the second half. So Homestead will be kicking off from our right to our left. And for one of the first times, we will see the Wilcox kick return unit, as it looks to be Jacob Dominguez going back out. Actually, he'll be at the blocking side of things. So Ryan Cooper Jr. and Aaron Singh are back to return this kick for Wilcox. As Gabe Solorio, who has been handling the punt and kick duties for Homestead, he will send this one away. What I was noticing as well, Homestead with their own twist on sort of the Alabama Crimson Tide look with the numbers on the helmets is always a neat little thing to do. Singh comes up to field this one at the 19-yard line. Goes towards the Wilcox sideline, makes a couple of nice cuts, gets across midfield, and runs across a shoulder by Jared Wade. But Aaron Singh with some nice moves, bringing that kick upfield, and he brings him into plus territory as he gets to the Homestead 45. That's where the Wilcox offense will begin play.
Boy, and I'll tell you, he got a heck of a block. I wish I'd seen exactly who freed him up, but he got a heck of a block to let him bring that back out to the outside and really made the most of it.
1st and 10 for Wilcox at the right hash mark. Ryan Cooper Jr. is split out wide to the left. Dominguez is out to the right. Adame will take it himself on a design QB run. That was a bit of a zone read. Gets to the 39-yard line, gain of 6 on that play to get things started for Wilcox. And I think right out of the gate, a little bit of a faster get up and go here for this Wilcox offense. You can definitely see they're getting off the block a lot faster. And good news for Wilcox, so Cyrus Nico is back into play. So everybody breathing a sigh of relief for that offense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see him back out there.
2nd and 4 from the Homestead 39. Handoff will go to Herrera. Gets a bit of push forward by Hunter Bright, the starting center, and Herrera gets a first down to the 29-yard line, gain of 10 on that rush. And Gabe Herrera has been the star of the show here in this first half. He has both touchdowns for Wilcox so far.
Yeah, absolutely, which is a little unusual because Rosa Jr. has been their leading scorer by far. But the thing I love about the Wilcox runners is the second efforts these guys show to pick up the extra yards.
They have a propensity to get those tough yards as Rosa gets the handoff on 1st and 10. As he bowls right over LaRue, coming over to make that tackle from the cornerback spot. Gets inside the 20-yard line and gets a gain of 13 on that play, it looks like. So another first down for Wilcox.
And another great second effort. I don't know if you saw that, Phil, but you could see Rosa actually running sideways, dragging somebody down the field for about 5 yards. Just great, tough running.
Officially a gain of 13. This is 1st and 10 for the Homestead 16-yard line. Adame on the design QB run again, runs right into LaRue, going up the field around right tackle. And Adame is being asked to do a little bit more here on this opening drive of the second half, and has been answering the bell quite nicely as he gains 8 on that run, so it'll be 2nd and 2.
Yeah, and Rosa's gone back to his bread and butter, which is keep the ball on the ground and make him stop you.
Ball officially on the Homestead 7. Cooper is out to the right in this formation. Herrera and Rosa still in the backfield. Rosa will take the handoff. And he still took some defenders with him. I thought he went down, but he refused to go down. And it's a touchdown for the Wilcox Chargers. Paul Rosa cashes in from 7 yards out. It's 20-7 Wilcox.
Yeah, you know, another example of Paul Rosa just putting his head down and just would not give up and drug a couple of guys with him to the end zone.
So the never quit style running of Paul Rosa pays off for him as he gets to pay dirt, and he now gets to kick the point after to complete everything here. currently a 20-7 lead for Wilcox. The kick by Rosa is up and good. And so a fine start here to the second half for the Wilcox Chargers. 9:52 remaining in this third quarter. It's 21-7. Your Chargers leading the Homestead Mustangs.
Yeah, much more characteristic of what we expected out of Wilcox. That's exactly what they needed to do, was get out of the blocks early and sort of shake those cobwebs off. It looks like they certainly found themselves in the locker room.
So a 5-play, 45-yard drive to get things going for the Chargers. Like you said, a nice showing here at the open for the second half, and it's something I think they really needed to kind of shake the doldrums out that first half, because it just seemed like they were essentially playing in a tub of sludge.
Yeah, and the danger, you hit on it earlier. I mean, the danger with a team like Homestead is if you start playing down to their level, they'll drag you down to it and beat you on experience.
Very well said on that one, as Isaiah Flores is ready to send this one away. Odor and Rucker III are back to return this kick for Homestead. Nice solid kick for Flores. However, Rucker will field it at the 2-yard line. He'll bring this one up and ran right into a Wilcox defender on that one. Great play there by Jacob Alvarado, who was playing special teams on that coverage. And Homestead will get the ball somewhat deep into their own territory. However, Rucker did bring it back out to the 20. So return of 18 on that play. And Homestead will get it at their own 20 to start.
Yeah, and one of the things we haven't talked about a lot all season is, that Wilcox kick team has been pretty good about containing their opponents.
Special teams has been quite good. And Latini takes the handoff, tries to go outside right tackle, and nowhere to go for him as Robert Padilla comes in to make the tackle. A loss on that play, as they will mark him behind the line of scrimmage. And a loss of 2 on that play, so 2nd and 12 coming up for Homestead. Actually, they're going to mark this as a no gain on that play, so beg your pardon on that one. So it will be 2nd and 10 from their own 20. Moore hands it off, and here is Wade with a head of steam. He's at the 40 to the 50. He's in a foot race with the Wilcox defense, and he gets into plus territory. A first down on that play, and Dominguez had to make a touchdown-saving tackle on that one, but the wheels of Jared Wade continue to cause problems for this Wilcox defense.
Yeah, that's he's given him fits all night, and that was a heck of a tackle, because if not for that, he was going to the promised land.
So they do get into Charger territory, ball at the 35-yard line of Wilcox. DeMoore back under center. Handoff up the middle and going right into the teeth of that defensive line, and not a whole lot in the way of traction there for Homestead.
Looks like he might have got a yard, but that was a tough yard to get.
And that's Omar Escobedo with the handoff, gain of 1 on that play. So it will be 2nd and 9, ball at the Wilcox 34. Ball's on the right hash of this one. Rucker III out to the left in this formation. And Wade takes the handoff once again, cuts back inside, eludes the initial tackler as Malvini whiffed on that attempt. And Wade continues to make some headway against this Wilcox defense. This will be a gain of, I believe, 3 on that play, and Ray Orozco makes the tackle for this Wilcox defense, and it's a gain of 3 on the play, so 3rd and 6 from the Wilcox 32. DeMoore under center. They send Latini in motion. Hand out to La Pepe Tele.
Not a lot there.
Yeah, no, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot there at all. As they get to the 30-yard line, if that. This will be a 4th and 4.
Looks like they're going to leave the offense out there.
Has been the calling card for Homestead. They haven't really called on the punt team very much in these types of situations. So 4th and 6. Need to get to the Wilcox 25 for a first down. Demore rolls to his right. Going to heave it towards the end zone for a play. Rucker was under it, but could not make the play. It is incomplete. Great coverage on that sequence by Cooper, and it's a turnover on downs for the Homestead Mustangs. And you can see that design on that play. Demore trying to go to his right, and not much doing there for Homestead as they turn it over on downs.
Yeah, Cooper did a great job on the coverage there. We used to say, he had him right there in his hip pocket, and really nowhere for that ball to go.
So Wilcox will take over at its own 31. Solid start for the defense to force that turnover on downs, and the offense takes the field once again. Looking to really stretch this lead as they lead 21-7, 6:50 to go here in the third. Pitch out to Rosa as he gets to the edge outside right tackle. As LaRue missed on the tackle, but Odor able to clean up the mess. As Rosa was actually able to make something of that pitch. And he's chased out of bounds to the 35-yard line. This will be second down and 5 on the play. Gain of 5.
Yeah, and that was interesting, because the pitch was just a little bit behind Rosa, and he had to actually look back to get that ball, and it could have been an easy drop. So he did a good job of hanging on to it.
Second and 5 from their own 35-yard line. Handoff right up the middle to Herrera, and he brings the entire Homestead defensive unit with him, and he will get enough for the first down. They moved the sticks on that one, and Gabe Herrera, for all the spotlight being on Paul Rosa for pretty much the entire season, and rightfully so, Gabe Herrera has been the star tonight.
Yeah, he's really had a big night, and in that case, drug a bunch of the Homestead student body across the first down marker.
Ends up being a gain of 8 for Herrera, so the ball is now at their own 43-yard line for Wilcox. And Herrera takes it once again, gets across the 50, and he is in a foot race. Wade Brake tries to bring him down, and Herrera is off to the races. Here he goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Wilcox Chargers. 57-yard scamper for Gabe Herrera, and Wilcox's offense is finally kicking it into gear, 27-7.
Boy, really terrific run. Once he broke that into that Homestead secondary, he was off to the races, and there was nobody going to catch him.
3 touchdown runs tonight for Gabe Herrera as Wilcox will line up for the extra point. Paul Rosa been handling the extra point duties tonight for Wilcox, so this will be the 4th time he will kick this one through. Adame with the hold. The snap is good. The kick is clean and through the uprights, and so with 6:06 remaining on this one, Wilcox finally kicking it into gear like we had expected them to all night long. And it's finally starting to come together for them. 28-7 lead over the Homestead Mustangs.
Yeah, I imagine Paul Rosa Sr., you probably heard him all the way down in Santa Cruz with his halftime motivational speech because they look like a different team now.
Well, they definitely look like they're playing much faster, getting off the blocks in the line of scrimmage, and really getting the offense set up much faster. But I got to tell you, Gabe Herrera, for as much as Homestead has been focusing on Paul Rosa, Herrera has been the thorn in their side tonight. He's got 3 touchdown runs, easily over 100 yards rushing tonight. And Rosa was already on his way to a 1,000-yard season, but if Herrera keeps this up, he may put himself in the conversation for a 1,000-yard season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's been the thing we've talked about all year, is that just vicious 1-2 punch of Rosa and Herrera all year long. And if you contain one, the other one's got you. And the thing that's been a little strange is Adame tonight has been running the ball more than throwing it.
It's a little bit of an unusual twist, but if you remember, this is really more the essence of the offense that Wilcox has been running for the last few years. Flores kicking this one away. This one looks to go into the end zone, and it will. This will be a touchback, and so Homestead will get the ball at their own 20 to start.
Yeah, and once again, Wilcox, his special teams has, started them out on their, 20-yard line or less, and that's been pretty much their characteristic all night. They have not given up a lot of yards on the return.
Flores, of course, he makes touchbacks a habit with that big leg of his, and tonight has really not been any different. This is the 3rd touchback he has converted. Or at least it's been the result of some of his kickoffs tonight. So Homestead will get the ball at their own 20-yard line. They're going to go with a 2-wide set to the right. And really, Homestead just looking for anything to try to get this offense going. There is the pitch to Rucker. Tries to get to the edge. Shakes off a couple of tackles and was just really dragged into the ground by Padilla on that play. And we've mentioned his name a couple of times, but I have to tell you, Robert Padilla has been playing like a whirling dervish out there at the linebacker position. It ends up being a gain of 4 on that play, so we'll be 2nd and 6, but Padilla has made some nice plays in the linebacker tonight.
Yeah, Robert Padilla's had a big night out there tonight, and he absolutely leveled that guy. Just a textbook tackle. He wrapped him up and drove him into the ground like a steak.
Formation changes here for Homestead. Run up the middle, and look at that. Padilla once again making the play there as Jared Wade, who has been causing Wilcox some fits all night, wasn't able to get much on that play as Padilla made sure that he maybe gets to the line of scrimmage and not much further than that.
Yeah, he's really putting on a tackling clinic out there tonight. I mean, those last 2 tackles were just about perfect. That guy had nowhere to go.
Turns out to be a gain of 1 on that play, so this will be 3rd and 5 from Homestead's own 25-yard line. And so far for Homestead, ever since that opening drive, it's been one goose egg after another. A trend they would certainly love to put a stop to right here. Rucker and Solorio are out to the left in this formation. And a timeout called by Homestead. So the trend continues from the first half where they had to use their timeouts in the early portion of the half. However, 4:23 left to go here in this 3rd quarter. You can't really call it the early part of the 2nd half at this point. But again, a lot of miscommunication for Homestead, not really able to get the right personnel out there. And head coach Milo Lewis has to get things talked over.
Yeah, I mean, they really have struggled with that. They burned up all of their timeouts, you know, rather early in the first half, and they're continuing that trend tonight. You know, I guess it's probably a sign that they have a tremendous amount of respect for that Wilcox defense, as they probably should. I was just looking at the stats, and Padilla is actually their 3rd leading tackler, and really, you know, a really hard hitter. I mean, those last 2 hits were just, that guy's looking for the license number of what hit him.
Well put on that one. 3rd and 5 coming up for Homestead. Damore feeling all sorts of pressure. He has to take it up himself. Absolutely nowhere close to that first down marker. Pulavati and Roland combining on that tackle for the Wilcox Chargers, as Damore was able to make some headway on that, but only about a yard short of that first down marker. So 4-yard gain on that play for Damore on the scramble. With it being 4th and 1, Homestead will keep the offense out on the field. A bit of a risk here for head coach Milo Lewis. If Homestead cannot convert, Wilcox will have a very short field to work with.
Yeah, it's 4th and pretty short, so, you know, he's probably thinking, you know, that there's a decent chance that a quarterback sneak or a hard count can get the job done for him.
Hand off to Wade up the middle. I don't know if
that
he
will
got
not
it.
Get it done.
On the spot, it's going to be awful close to say the least. And they're going to give it to him. So Wade gets enough for the first down. The sticks will move upfield. And Wade with a very tough 2 yards. And it's a 2 yards that will be a big payoff for Homestead. It's 1st and 10 at their own 31.
Yeah, that's their first down of the 2nd half, I believe, Phil. Is that right?
It's either 1st or 2nd, because they did get at least 1 first down.
You're right. You're right.
Opening drive here in the 2nd half. But either way, that just goes to show you how tough it's been ever since that opening drive, which I think shocked a lot of us, including you and I.
Certainly did.
Hand off to Rucker on the end around. And Pulavati shot right through that line of scrimmage and made that play go absolutely nowhere. No gain on that play, so 2nd and actually a 1 yard loss on that play, I beg your pardon. So 2nd and 11 for Homestead as they will snap this one from their own 30.
Yeah, Poulavati was absolutely having none of that. I mean, he shot that gap and really did a nice job of reading the play and a really another good hard hit to bring the runner down.
Homestead going with a 3 wide set on this one. Solorio out wide to the left. Demore's going to drop back. He throws to the right, incomplete. Great coverage there by Orozco as the pass was intended for Latini. So the clock stops with 2:12 remaining in the third. It's a 3rd and 11 coming up for Homestead.
Yeah, again, you know, we don't talk about it a lot, but you know, that Wilcox secondary has really done a great job all season with coverage. You don't see him get burned very often. And the combination of that and Wilcox's front 7 that really puts pressure on the passer, you know, just a lethal combination.
The pass rush did definitely came alive against Los Gatos last week, so they are definitely continuing that momentum here against Homestead. A whistle blows this play dead, a flag on the play at the line of scrimmage, and
on the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
A false start on Homestead. This turns it into a 3rd and 16. They will snap the ball at their own 24. And the problems just continue to mount for the Homestead Mustangs as they haven't exactly been able to pony up.
No, they sure haven't. You know, and it's interesting to see how the momentum has completely shifted, you know, from first half from Wilcox looking flat. Now Homestead looks a little flat.
Seems to have changed sides on this, but here we are, 3rd and 16. 4 wide set this time for Homestead. DeMore dropping back, and he's feeling all kinds of pressure and gets tossed to the side like a rag doll. Tyler Rowland made his presence felt on that one. The 2nd sack of the night for this Wilcox defense. And I gotta tell you, I kind of feel for Ryan DeMore on that one. He was just tossed aside as Tyler Rowland got a hold of him and just said, there you go.
Yep, thrown away like an old Kleenex. And yeah, sorry about that.
Now, to be fair, I am never that violent when I toss old Kleenexes away. Let's be fair about this here. Solorio with the low snap. He sends this punt away. It's going to go around the 40-yard line, and it's going to go out of bounds, and they're probably going to mark it a little bit short. Actually going to go at around the 41-yard line. Where that punt went out of bounds. So that is where Wilcox will take over. Then they're going to have a short field to work with, and most unfortunate for the Homestead offense, or for the Homestead defense rather, as they got a short field they got to defend against a Wilcox offense that's starting to find its legs now.
Yeah, and you know, they're starting to run like the machine we normally see.
1st and 10 now for Wilcox. Herrera with the handoff gets to the 35-yard line, takes a couple of Homestead defenders with him, and he finally drags them down after that 5-yard gain on the play. And this will be 2nd and 5 for Wilcox coming up. We're in the final minute of the 3rd quarter, and things going much more according to plan here for the hometown Wilcox Chargers, looking to run their record to 8-0 on the season. 2nd and 5 coming up from the Homestead 35-yard line. Adame under center. And Rosa takes the handoff. He's got the 1st down. Takes the defender with him, and that looked to be Leo Pepe Tele, who tried to make the tackle on him, but Rosa just took him for a ride instead. And so Wilcox gets another 1st down. Clock stopped at 31.3 seconds to go. And Wilcox has the ball at the Homestead 20.
See if they get one more playoff before the end of the quarter. But you know, again, another tough run by Mr. Rosa.
14 seconds and counting. 1st and 10 for Wilcox. Adame takes the snap. Here's the pitch to Rosa. Tries to get to the outside. Well read this time by Latini, who makes the tackle in the backfield. So Rosa will lose some yardage, and that is how this 3rd quarter will end for the Wilcox Chargers, but a much better showing this time around as they lead 28-7 at the end of 3 quarters. And in fact, we're going to keep it right here because it's something we haven't had a chance to do. And now with this game going into the 4th quarter, we can definitely take a look at some of the playoff possibilities that might await Wilcox. One of the local websites here, prep2prep.com, does a great job with a lot of the prep sports coverage here in the area, and they actually have their own formula with which they determine who they predict is going to end up where as far as the CCS playoff brackets are concerned. And for Wilcox, they actually give them a very favorable projection in the Open Division II bracket. In case you're unfamiliar, CCS underwent a postseason reorganization as far as who would qualify for what. And Wilcox, based on their total enrollment, they would actually end up in Open Division II, whereas right now they project to be the #1 seed. But you look at that entire Division II bracket, Open Division II bracket, it looks very tough.
No, it sure does. I mean, you know, you've got Oak Grove, St. Francis, Mitty, and Valley Christian and Sarah all in that, and that's a tough road to hoe to get through that. You know, and we've talked about it before. To be successful, they're really going to have to clean up their game.
Well, it can start right here as we begin the fourth quarter. 2nd and 14 after a loss of 4 on that run by Rosa. As he lost 4 yards on that play, the tackle was made by Casey Latini. And here is the handoff to Pulavati. He's getting some run at linebacker, exhibiting some of that linebacker toughness as he goes right through that Wilcox defense and gets more than enough for a first down, tackled at the 9-yard line, and moves those chains for another Wilcox first down. But Rowan Pulavati, this guy can do it all.
No, he sure can tonight. I mean, you know, he's been out there making the big plays on defense, and then went out there and left some tire tracks on the Homestead defense as he went right over the top of them.
Gain of 14 on that play, so 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. So essentially they want to get to the goal line for a first down. Hand it off to Herrera. He shoots right through the gap of the Homestead defense and into the end zone for a Wilcox Charger touchdown. 11-yard touchdown run for Gabe Herrera, and that blows this game wide open, 34-7 Wilcox.
Yeah, and you know, Herrera really could have kept running all the way to Levi Stadium. Nobody absolutely touched that guy. I don't think anybody got a hand on him. So that's his 4th touchdown tonight.
You are correct, yes. What a big night for Gabe Herrera, and probably overdue with all the big nights that Paul Rosa has had. But I mean, Herrera has gotten some of the tough yards for most of the season. He's been sort of the unheralded #2 running back, but he deserves a lot of credit. This is basically his breakout party tonight with his 4 touchdown performance. The extra point by Rosa is good, and now it is all systems go for the Wilcox Chargers, as that undefeated season will look to remain intact for at least another week, as they now lead 35-7. As we were going back over the Open Division II potential matchups here, the way things look right now, at least based on what Prep to Prep has projected, now there are a couple weeks left in the season, so take these with a grain of salt, but the matchups look like this. It's going to be based on what they have. Wilcox as the 1 seed would face Leland at #8. A 4-5 matchup would be Sarah Valley Christian, and they're actually playing each other tonight. St. Francis Archbishop Mitty would be the 3-6 matchup, and then Oak Grove and Christopher would be the 2-7 matchup. Christopher actually won the Division 4 section championship last season, so for them to go from Division 4 up to Open Division 2, that's going to be quite a challenge.
And to make the playoffs, yeah. But I think you said earlier, Valley Christian was up on Sarah. Was it 20-0?
20-0, yeah. I may have an update here if I get another chance. We'll get to that as time progresses. Here is Tyler Rowland. Sends this kick away. A solid kick, as this is going to go into the end zone through the hands of Odur for a touchback. So it really doesn't matter who kicks off for Wilcox. The touchback is just an art form.
Yeah, they really don't like anybody to return the football, I don't think. But again, you know, when they have had returns, you know, they've shown great kick coverage, you know, all season long. Just, you know, I can think of only once or twice where somebody's gotten it out past the 30.
It's been a bit of a rarity, but Homestead has not really been able to take advantage of some of their opportunities here. They will start once again at their own 20. 11:22 left to go here in this fourth quarter. DeMoore takes the snap under center. Latini takes the handoff and is tackled behind the line of scrimmage. And Samuela Lolo makes the stop on that play. Loss of 1 on that play from it looks like, but as of right now, they're going to say it's no gain. So 2nd and 10 for Casey Eensy Yellow Polka Dot Latini. I know that was kind of a reach, but I had to go for it.
You had to.
I had to, exactly.
You got to swing at that one.
I had to swing. That was a bit of a curveball, too. May have been in the dirt once. I probably whiffed. 2nd and 10 now for Homestead. Latini once again with the handoff. And it's actually going to be Rucker up the middle. They had fooled on that little sequence there, but Rucker gets enough for the first down. They will move the chains. Gain of 12 on that play, and Homestead will have another first down.
Yeah, they run a lot of those double handoff and double pitches. So far, Wilcox has had most of them pretty well sussed out, but that one they actually managed to break for about 11 yards.
Well, it was interesting how the numbers shook out here as we now are at 1st and 10 at their own 33. Handoff this time to Latini, and I'm positive on this one. But he ends up losing some yardage as Latini tried to take it out beyond the left tackle side. It ends up being no gain on the play, so this will be a 2nd and 10. This will remain at their own 33-yard line. Moore with the screen to the outside. It's complete to Solorio, but not much further beyond that. Isaiah Flores coming in to make the tackle from the defensive end side. And it's a gain of 3 on that play, so 3rd and 7 coming up for Homestead. Ends up being a 3-yard screen pass. I believe that's the first pass that Moore's completed all night.
I think you might be right. He's had a rough night, and he's going to be having nightmares about black and gold.
Just a tad bit. Latini on the handoff, trying to again go to outside the left tackle side, but chased down by Isaiah Flores once again. And Flores, I got to tell you, he is probably one of the more athletic kickers in the entire De Anza division. Not only can he handle stuff with his legs, but he's making some great plays out there from the defensive end side of things, too.
No, he really has. He's had a big night out there, and, you know, he chased him down, and there was really nowhere for that play to go with the pursuit from the Wilcox defense.
So another forced punt for Homestead. Solorio with the punt to send this one away. Bounces at the 43-yard line, and that will trickle out of bounds. No chance for either Cooper Jr. or Ah Sing to return this one. So a very long night continues for Homestead as we now get to the 8:44 mark. And this one here in the 4th quarter, Wilcox will take over now at their own 43.
Yeah, and that was the second time tonight Solorio's had to deal with a little bit of a high snap. Did a great job bringing that down and preventing it from another blocked kick. Of course, the last block kick ended up in a turnover in their favor.
That's one of the few bright spots Homestead has had all night. 1st and 10 now from their own 43. Herrera, actually that's Rosa with the handoff. Getting some tough yardage. Look at him taking most of the Homestead defensive unit for a ride just a bit. He crosses into Homestead territory, a gain of 8 on that play. This will be a 2nd and 2 coming up for Wilcox, but Rosa once again showing us how tough he is running the ball up the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Not an ounce of give up in that boy, and he's really shown some tough running all season long.
So the ball now at the Homestead 49-yard line as the clock continues to roll, 8:09 and counting. Wilcox 35-7 lead. Adame going deep for Cooper, and he's going to overshoot him just a bit. And that's the second time that has happened as Cooper had his defender beat by a couple of steps. But it was not to be on that one right there. But I'll tell you what, Cooper, if he was able to get under that one, he was gone.
Yeah, he was off to the barn on that one. You know, and it's almost like, you know, Rosa called that play just to keep the Homestead defense honest. And it was really a free shot. When you got 2nd and 2, you know, why not?
Wilcox coming to the line of scrimmage, a 3rd and 3 from the Homestead 49. A bit of a personnel change here on the outside. The pitch to Rosa, gets to the edge, gets a first down, crossing the 45 to the 40. Knocked out of bounds inside the 40-yard line. They'll mark him out at the 38. But a good enough run for Rosa to get the first down. Clock stops at 7:56. And this will be another first down as they do move the chains, as Rosa continuing to show that great speed as he's giving Homestead defense nightmares of his runs to the outside on the edge. Yeah,
they're going to be thinking about that all the rest of this week. They're probably going to ban the number 2.
First and 10 for Wilcox from their own 39. Adame looking downfield, and a nice adjustment by Dominguez, but he could not track that one down. It's incomplete, as Dominguez was trying to run that bit of an out route, and maybe a little bit of a missed timing there between Dominguez and Adame. But it's 2nd and 10. Clock stops at 7:50 remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Adame seems to have really had a lot of trouble tonight. He just seems like his timing's just a little bit off.
Whatever the issues are, they're going to have to get that cleaned up, because as we all know, next week they will have a very tough matchup against the Milpitas Trojans. So a lot of effort going to be put into preparations for that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 wide set here for Wilcox. Adame in the shotgun this time. It's a little bit of a rare look. Feels the pressure and led Rosa a bit too much on that throw. It's incomplete. And maybe Adame getting a little skittish there, feeling some of the pressure, as he did step up in the pocket, but led Rosa, who was a little bit, I mean, he was open, but just led him a bit too much.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, and that's, all night he's been just a little bit off, by a couple steps on all of his throws. So he's going to have to settle down over the coming week, because they're going to need his arm to beat Milpitas next week.
3rd and 10 now from the Homestead 38. Going back to their standard 2-back formation, Cooper and Dominguez are the receivers on this run. Herrera slips right through the middle of the defense, and Gabe Herrera hits pay dirt for the 5th time tonight. Touchdown, Wilcox Chargers, 38-yard run by Herrera, and it's now a 41-7 lead for Wilcox.
Yeah, I mean, Herrera's probably got close to 200 yards tonight. Really big night for him, and be interesting to see what the stats show for Rosa, because he's probably got 100 as well.
6 plays, 43 yards on that drive, capped off by the, I beg your pardon on this one. 6 plays, 57 yards on that touchdown drive, capped off by Herrera. Here is the point after from Rosa, a bit of a line drive kick, but it is through the uprights, and it is good. And so definitely a tale of 2 halves here for the Wilcox Chargers, who came out of halftime with only a 14-7 lead to show for it, but a 28-0 onslaught here in the second half. And this game going more like what we expected, as they now lead 42-7 with 7:39 left to go here in this one. So the way things are going, an 8-0 record, all but certain for your Wilcox Chargers. Meanwhile, for the Homestead Mustangs, their struggles continue, as it looks more and more likely he will fall to 0-7 overall.
Yeah, they look like a team that's suffered a lot of adversity this year, and hopefully somewhere along the line they can find a way to get a win out of the season and come back next year stronger.
Tyler Rowland is out to kick this one away once again. He will line this one up. Another solid line drive kick. Odor will field it at the 4-yard line, and he will bring this upfield. Odor trying to go the long way here, shakes a couple of tackles. He's eventually brought down. Some nice special teams play there by Wilcox. Nathan Oliveira finishes the job there on Homestead's return man, Aaron Odor, as Homestead will take over at their own 19-yard line.
Yeah, again, the Wilcox special teams managed to keep them pinned down under their 20-yard line, which I don't think that Homestead has been outside their 20 on a kickoff return all night.
So 7:09 and counting. The running clock is in effect now with the 35-point advantage for Wilcox. DeMoore takes the snap. Wade trying to go in between the tackles and stays on his feet as Roland brings him down to the turf. And that is going to be enough for a first down as Wade gets to the 30-yard line, 11 yards on that run. And Homestead will get the first down as the clock continues to roll. Running clock is in effect because of the margin of separation between Wilcox and Homestead, which we kind of thought was going to take place in the first half, to be perfectly honest, but Wilcox seems to have shaken off the rust and played like we expected them to.
Yeah, they certainly have, and Valley Christian's now up 30-6 on Sarah, so it looks like they've got that game well in hand.
That's a surprising result, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh my!
Hand off to Latini, going right up the middle, but Pulavati not having any of that run there. 1 yard gain on that play. So this will be 2nd and 9, and once again Pulavati showing that he is just the bedrock of this Wilcox defense. He's been playing so well tonight.
Yeah, he really has, and I would say he left an impression on the runner's ribs there. I didn't actually see who the ball carrier was on that one. Did you get?
I must have missed that one.
He's going to have a bruise in the shape of a face mask tomorrow.
We have a stoppage on the field.
It's like the officials have some issue going.
They created a stoppage on the field, and we're, again, like you said, Paul, we're trying to figure out what's going on here, but it's hard to believe that we are at the tail end of our broadcast schedule. In just a couple of weeks, it will be senior night here at Fitzpatrick Field when your Wilcox Chargers will be taking on Cupertino High School. And that will be the final home game of the season, which will mean the final broadcast for us. Rucker takes the handoff on the end around, gets to the Homestead side of the field and crosses the 40-yard line. Actually, I think they're going to mark him out of bounds before he got to the 40. This will be a 7-yard gain on that play, so 3rd and 2 coming up for Homestead. As the clock continues to roll, we're inside 5 minutes remaining in this one.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that the season's almost over.
Hand off to Wade. He goes right into the teeth of that Wilcox defense. And that was Nathan Dean who led the way on that tackle, but Wade was able to get enough for a first down for Homestead, so the sticks will move up. Clock continues to roll, however, as Homestead will now have a 1st and 10 at their own 40. They'll send Wade to the sideline. He had a very fine effort in his own right.
Yeah, some really tough running tonight from him, and he's a big kid with a lot of speed.
Moore handing it off, and unfortunately for Homestead, Omar Escobedo was not able to go anywhere on that play as Nick Malvini came in from the safety position to make that stop. Loss of 1 on that play. Actually, they're going to mark that as no gain, so remains 2nd and 10. 3:44 remaining, and of course, like I mentioned, in a couple of weeks, it will be the final home game of the season, which of course means the final broadcast for us here for the football season on the Charger Sports Network. And all that will be left is how Wilcox will end up on the postseason rankings and where they will end up and what seed will they get. There is the snap, and just a train wreck of a play and absolutely nowhere to go, unfortunately, for Tommy Cacho III. And that will be marked back at the 28-yard line. And we want a bit of a microcosm for how things have gone for Homestead tonight. I think that was it right there.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, nowhere to go, and then kind of an ill-advised turn the other direction and slipped.
When all said and done, that's a loss of 11 on that play for Homestead. This turns into a 3rd and 21. 2:42 remaining, and pretty much everything is all done but the shouting. So it'll be another disappointing bus ride back to Cupertino for the Homestead Mustangs as they are still in search of their first win of the season. More on the play action. Gets the screen set up. It is into the hands of Odor, who tries to at least make something out of nothing. Runs right into Malvini at the far sideline and is out of bounds as the clock continues to run. We are coming up on 2 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Looks like there's a flag on the play, too.
You are correct, a flag on the far sideline. Let's wait to see what the official ruling is.
Well, it's an unusual call. Unusual call.
So face mask on the ball carrier. And that was Odor who is going to get flagged for the face mask. So the penalty is going to be declined, however. So this will now be 4th down, and at this point for Homestead, a little bit too long for them, so they will send out the punting unit. As we are going to get ready to wrap things up here from Fitzpatrick Field. We'll give you our final thoughts and sign off here. 4th home game of the schedule for the Wilcox Chargers. Next week, they will be in Milpitas, as this punt will land out of bounds around the 30-yard line. The Wilcox will have another week to look at that glistening 0 in the loss column for them. And it's been a fine season where the expectations, understandably, were very, very high, especially with all the returning starters coming back on both sides of the ball. So you had to think that if they were going to make a run at a league title and potentially a section title, this was going to be the year. And so far, barring a few hiccups, they look like they may pose a problem for anybody in the CCS, but all determines on who they'll match up with, too.
Yeah, it really does. And you know, again, emotion plays so much in that, you know, when you get to postseason for high school.
Handoff going up the middle as some of the backups are getting some run here. Issa Diallo takes that handoff right around right tackle. As that's a 7-yard gain on the play. 16 seconds remaining, and they will call the offense off. Both teams are going to gather at the 50-yard line to shake hands, and this will be another win for your Wilcox Chargers. A final of 42-7 as Wilcox comes away with a victory. They now go to 8-0 on the season. Homestead Mustangs fall to 0-7 in this SCVAL De Anza Division matchup. Paul, some of your final thoughts on what transpired tonight?
Yeah, you know, I mean, for as flat as Wilcox came out, you know, it really looked like it was going to be a tough game for them. But they managed to hang in there with their defense in the first half and then show the Wilcox that we've come to know and love over the year, where they offense firing all cylinders and the defense just allowing nothing.
Allowing nothing indeed. And then, of course, you have to point out Gabe Herrera. This was his show tonight. 5 touchdown runs tonight. And he was really the focal point of this offense, and he made life absolutely miserable for this Homestead defense. And next week is the big one, as they will go to Milpitas to take on the Milpitas Trojans. That should be a good one. We will be back with you in a couple of weeks for senior night, the final home game of the 2018 season before we transition to postseason play. We want to thank you for tuning in to the Charger Sports Network tonight for this coverage of Wilcox Charger football. For all the crew and my broadcast partner, Paul Russell, my name is Philip Kern, bidding you a good night from Fitzpatrick Field. Your Wilcox Chargers move to 8-0 on the season, a 42-7 victory over the Homestead Mustangs. Good night, and we will see you on November 2nd.